a groom to the wedding canopy. Give the baby to the Zonda. So please repeat after me. Baruch haba.
Baruch haba.
Blessed is the one arriving.
Blessed is the one arriving.
Now Ethan is sitting with his grandfather in what for the purposes of a bris becomes the chair of Elijah the prophet, who is remembered for the good. Now why do we set out this chair? Well, a new child has come into the world, and with him comes great promise. In his soul is the potential to bring greatness and blessing to our lives. This child reminds us that the world is not yet complete, and that we each share in the task of perfecting it. We symbolize this noble undertaking by setting aside a chair for Elijah the prophet, who represents the coming of age of eternal peace. We pray that as we remember Elijah, this young man will use his God-given talents to improve the lot of mankind materially and spiritually. The Brit Milah, which is literally translated as covenant of circumcision, is a fundamental Jewish rite of passage that marks the entrance of the Jewish male into a covenant between God and the Jewish people. This original covenant made between God and Abraham over 3,500 years ago. At its heart, the Brit Milah, the circumcision, is an outward physical sign, signature on the contract, of this everlasting connection between God and the Jewish people. By continuing to perform the act of circumcision, Jews perpetuate the covenant and make their children a part of God's eternal promise. There's some questions that come up at every bris. For instance, why the 8th day? Now, this might have been more convenient on a Sunday. More people might have been able to come, or this would have been easier. Well, why the 8th day? 3 reasons. Number 1, as I just read you from Genesis, that's when God told Abraham to circumcise his son. So it's divine law. But the second reason, as a physician, I've always found fascinating. So after you had the baby, the nurses put the baby on your chest for skin-to-skin bonding. And then maybe after about 10 minutes, they take the baby and say, let me bring the baby to the warmer. And at the warmer, they give the baby erythromycin ointment for the eyes to prevent infection, and a shot of vitamin K for blood clotting factors. Well, why does the baby need that shot? It turns out that a baby's blood clotting factors do not mature spontaneously until about the 8th day. So way back in biblical times, probably by trial and error, people determined that the safest time for this minor surgical procedure was about the 8th day. The third reason, that espoused by the ultra-Orthodox Jews, the ones who wear the black hats, they say that by doing the Brit Milah on the 8th day, every baby gets to live through one 24-hour period of Shabbat holiness before having his Brit Milah. Something that's often not known is that it's actually the father's job to do the circumcision. But most dads are not surgically trained, so they'll have a moil such as myself do it. The transfer of authority has to be explicit. Eric, would you like to perform Ethan's circumcision, or would you like me to do it in your stead?
Right answer, please.
I think I choose you.
Okay, that's the right answer.
Yes.
Please read this blessing. I am ready.
All right. I am ready to fulfill the mitzvah of having our son circumcised as the blessed Creator commanded us in the Torah. Throughout your generations, every male among you shall be circumcised when he is 8 days old.
Amen.
Amen.
Steve, do it.
Well, kids want grow for this.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu v'misosav v'tivanu al kamilo. Amen.
Amen. Blessed are you, Lord our God, King of the universe, who has sanctified us with his commandments and commanded us to make our sons enter the covenant of Abraham and Sarah.
Our God and God of our fathers, preserve this child for father and mother, and his name in Israel shall be called Mordecai ben Sion v'Tovachava. May the father rejoice in his offspring, and his mother be glad with the fruit of her womb, as it is written. May your father and mother rejoice, and she who bore you be glad. And it is said, he has remembered his covenant forever, the word which he has commanded to 1,000 generations.
We pray
For the well-being of our son, as we have brought him before you this day, so may he always be in your presence. Guard him, protect him, love him as deeply as we do. Grant him a life of blessing, length of days, good health, loving relationships, and a legacy of good deeds.
We close the ceremony with the 3 best-known blessings in Judaism. There's a story behind the first one. It turns out that Abraham, as a boy, worked for his father Terah in Babylon. Now, Terah made his living selling idols to the Gentiles. So you could buy a tree god from Terah or a god of a cloud. And there's not a god of a tree or a cloud. There's one spirit over all of us. And that became the basis of the world's 3 monotheistic religions. For Judaism, it became encapsulated into a prayer that are the first words out of the mouth of an Orthodox Jew in the morning, the last words out of his mouth before he dies. And in English it says, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one." In Hebrew we say, "Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad." The second of the 3 blessings is my personal favorite in the prayer book, because we say it on occasions like this, Simchas, when family and friends get together to celebrate. It's the Shechechiyanu. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Shechechiyanu v'kiyamanu v'higiyanu lazman hazeh. And the last blessing is the blessing over wine. Wine sanctifies occasions in Judaism and in other religions as well. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Borei Pri Hagaf. Amen. Now, Mommy,
Amen.
Siman Tov and
Mazel
Mazel
Tov
Tov
and
and
Mazel
Mazel
Tov
Tov
and
and
Siman Tov, Siman Tov and Mazel Tov and Mazel Tov and Siman Tov, Siman Tov and Mazel Tov and Mazel Tov and Siman Tov. Yehelanu, Yehelanu, Yehelanu. You want to dance, guys?
Yehelanu, Yehelanu,